Joining this morning, Pat Carr and Connie Nelson. And Connie, I haven't seen you for a long time.
I know.
So how you been doing?
Very well. Very well.
Connie and I used to work at the News Herald together.
Oh, that was so many years ago.
1968. We were just kids.
Yes. I know.
Oh, you're still kids.
At a break, I got to mention something to you. I can't say it on the air,
Okay.
but I will tell you
Okay.
at a break. I got an email from Connie the other morning that she and Pat were involved in a new support ministry for loved ones that are afflicted with addiction.
Yes.
Which is a lot around the Conneaut area and
Yes.
Ashtabula County. Tell us about how this all started.
Well, I'm a grandmother of a person who was addicted.
Okay.
Pat has a son that was addicted, or is addicted. And we met down in Neil Kennedy in Youngstown.
Which is a rehabilitation.
A recovery center
Yes.
for them. And both my granddaughter and her son was there. And we got to talking and said we'd like to start a group. So one thing led to another. We had a couple meetings. Tell them about Father.
Well, I had been thinking, of course, I'm a Facebookian. And, I was looking for, sometimes you go on there for support, and I found this group called TAM. And it's the addicted mother, or the addict's mother. And there's a lot of support there on that Facebook group. And they have formed a group, and they're actually having a walk in Cleveland May 17th.
Okay.
And there are groups popping up all over because as mothers, and I'm sure fathers, we're tired of this. We're tired of it. It's not in the back alley anymore. It's right here in mainstream America. When they're selling heroin in front of the Walmart in Chardon, like Girl Scout cookies, there's a problem. But I wanted to form, get a chapter here. And I talked to Father Miller at Corpus Christi. And he said, why don't we make this an outreach ministry and do it under the parish outreach, and we can use the school hall to hold these meetings. And we kind of planned that we would do this every third Sunday from 6 to 8 p.m. once a month. I started out, I want to do it every Sunday, but
It's a bit much.
that's a bit much. But it's a lot of people don't want to talk about it, and they don't have people to talk to sometimes because people just don't understand. And it's a family disease. It affects everybody in the family.
Sure.
And so that's what we're trying to do. We kind of call it sharing without shame. And the nice thing, we're not the experts.
No, by no means.
We know a lot about it, but we're not the experts. So we plan on, you come in, you talk about this, we're going to have resources. We're not going to try to fix anybody, but we are going to try to give resources and support. We are having Gail Castrilla, who's from Connie, for our first meeting to be a speaker. Gail's worn many hats. She's worked at the prison. She works for Signature Health. You may remember her as the Right Track organizer, originator. And she's going to be coming down and speak to people. And this is more about support and where the family can find support, and about taking back your life, about enabling. And it's just a very, very hard thing to do. Your love as a mother or a father has to be turned around to tough love. And believe me, we both know that's very, very hard.
Now the meeting starts at 6, so go to 8.
If we need to.
If it needs to.
If it needs to go that far. I guess I got to ask you this. How do you handle a situation when your child is involved with this kind of stuff? When, we see it all the time. There are so many overdoses and deaths that have occurred in Ashtabula County that it's heartbreaking to know that people are addicted to any particular drug.
Heroin's the big one.
Yeah, which in our day was like taboo. I mean,
beer and cigarettes.
Yeah, beer and cigarettes are bad enough, but heroin now is like Pat said, it's there.
It's everywhere.
Open.
It's everywhere. It is affecting everyone now. You know, a lot of people don't do anything till it affects them, and we're all going to be affected. So one way or the other, you know.
So how do you, like Pat, in your case with your child that has experimented with this stuff? How do you approach him? I mean, how do you handle that?
Well, it's been many, many years of handling it. We've
Really?
done everything. And really, when you ask about, well, what do? We really can't do anything except, you know, do not enable.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you've just got to tell them it has to stop. I knew people that, well, oh my God, my child has a teaching degree, and if she has a felony, she's going to lose that. Well, you know what? There are other things she can do, and don't enable her, you know, keeping her from having a felony. Sometimes the best thing that ever happens, if people get incarcerated, then they're going to get the care.
Mm-hmm.
And someone told me that, and I don't know that it's true, but it was someone that knew what they were talking about, that incarceration is one of the, long-time incarceration is one of the best tools for sobriety, because not that they can't get it in prison, like I said, it's everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
It's everywhere. But you have to be careful what you do. You have to, like, you know, don't be in denial. You know, if it looks like a duck and walks like a duck, it's a duck.
Mm-hmm.
And you can be in denial all you want, but, you know, I don't think there was a lot of knowledge out there. You know, a lot of people think it's their choice. I've worked with youth at risk for many years, and I had someone from Glen Bay in the 90s come in and talk to a class I had. And he tried to explain to them, 10 people start drinking, 3 people can't stop. And the other thing is, a lot of people are predisposed to it. They have a gene. It's science, almost. So I think the biggest thing is to have empathy, but, you know, they got to do what they got to do. It's really up to them. You're not going to stop them. They got to stop themselves. But you make sure they have the resource to do this. Now, the Affordable Care Act has allowed people to get health care that didn't have health care before.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, a lot of times, you know, they go to the ER to get help and they'd be turned away because they didn't have anything and they didn't believe that opiates were as bad as anything else. I mean, if you have alcoholism problems and you quit using, you're going to die.
Mm-hmm.
Opiates, when you quit using, you won't die, but you'll wish you had. You know, going cold turkey and all that. And a lot of people are learning how to do that now. But now with the Health Care Act coming in, you know, people are able to get some help and therapy and all that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the fact that we want to shine light on it, we want to, you know, open things up so people are educated and they understand. Also, you know, I think sometime we're going to have someone come in that will allow us to have some sort of anonymous hotline or something where if we see, you know, some kind of activity going on, we can report that,
Mm-hmm.
you know, without having it come back on you.
Right.
So, you know, people need to keep their eyes and ears open. If you see something like and you suspect it, you know, you might be saving somebody's life if you report it.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people don't want to admit they're ashamed. But I think if people think that their person is using, I think they should come to our meetings and ask these questions, because we have been through a lot. We do have a lot of resources. Like I said, that's what we're going to offer, support and resources.
I think that these meetings will be important and are important, and the name of the group is Heart to Heart, correct?
Yes. And I would like to say, very important, if you have lost a loved one to this disease, please come, because we're there for you too,
Mm-hmm.
especially.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And every week you will, or every month you'll have speakers to make presentations and that sort of stuff.
Some ex-users want to come.
Okay, that's always important too.
Yes.
You know.
They think it's very important. And we didn't have anything in Conneaut that I know of.
Right.
I've heard from people that have said that, you know, there's not really any place to go. Where do we go to talk about this problem or talk about our kids or even themselves?
Well, I'll tell you what. When I ended up going down to yet another recovery program for my son, he's used a long time. But I walked in because I was thinking about, I got to do something like this. I've been on the TAM site and watching what they do. We got to do something. I walked into Neil Kennedy and saw Connie there, and I went, wow. If that's not a sign, I don't know what is.
Gives me the goosebumps.
Yeah. So I looked at her, she looked at me and said, we got to do something. In the Geneva area on Austenburg Road, there's the Eagleville Bible Church. They have Celebrate Recovery, and it's a Bible-based, say that 3 times fast, a Bible-based group that helps people with recovery and anything else going on. In Ashtabula, there's a lady, I can't think of her name, and it's called The Loop. I can get that information for you.
I never heard about that one.
Yeah. And then Connie, it needed something. We've had some people lose people here, and it's just got to stop. Got to stop, and we're doing whatever we can. We're new, and I think as time goes on, we'll think of more things to help, but this is our initial shot. Anyone that wants to be involved, please come.
And they shouldn't be afraid to come.
No.
I mean, you're not police. You're not trying to police this.
Not at all.
You know.
Pat and I have been to the family group meetings down to Neil Kennedy, so we've heard a little bit. In fact, the day her son was talking and Pat was talking, I literally had tears in my eyes. But my granddaughter ended up spending 22 days in the Conneaut jail because she had gone down to Neil Kennedy and walked out. And she was court ordered to go down there. But you have to wait your turn because they're so busy. She spent 22 days in Conneaut jail before we could get her in anywhere. Ron and I each took a day, and we had 2 full days of calling all these places. Nobody had any openings. We had to wait, so we waited for Neil Kennedy, and she was in there 30-some days. So right now, well, the reason I'm saying Judge Harris kept her in jail so he wouldn't lose her. She could have overdosed.
Same with my guy.
So she is now over 60 days clean.
Good.
And proud of the fact.
Good for her.
Her boyfriend's the same thing. He's over 60 days. And they're totally different people.
Are they?
They're putting on weight, and they're much happier.
That's fantastic.
Anybody can do it. They just
have to want to do it.
Yes. Yes.
We're getting a phone call. You can call back. The girls will answer your questions if you have any questions out there regarding this. It's called Heart to Heart. It is a new support ministry for loved ones of those afflicted with addiction. The meeting is going to be at Corpus Christi Parish Hall at 734 Mill Street, and it's open to the public, and the meeting starts at 6 o'clock. We'll go to 8 o'clock if they have to. Hi, you're on the air.
Good morning, Pat.
Hi.
Good morning, ladies. Pat, you may not know me, but I have known your husband and grew up with his family. And I really want to tell you, I think it's wonderful that you are doing this. I was just reading in the Exponent last night, my mom and I, a little write-up that you guys had started this. My mom and I were talking about it, and I want you to know that we have prayed for you and your family. It has hit our own family, and I can tell you it's one of the worst things you can ever imagine. You know it.
Yes.
To go through in your life. It affects everyone in the family.
Yes.
And I pray for you. I give you a lot of strength, and I want to tell you I'm so happy that you started this. I think it's going to help a lot.
Sure.
Just the awareness.
Thank
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Michelle. Thank you.
Bye now.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right. Now, we want to stress that Pat and Connie are not professionals regarding the drug addiction out there. However, they've been touched by the problem, and they wanted to start the support group to get people come out and talk about it, and maybe kind of relieve some of the situation that they're going through. And believe me, There's a lot of it out there. I think you girls
Yes.
both know
Oh,
that.
yes.
Um,
The money they steal. They stole, my granddaughter stole my jewelry. I had to go buy it back. She had went up to Cashland. And then I used to keep Christmas money at home. That was all gone.
really?
Yeah. They'll steal you blind. And you don't know it usually till later.
We get the police reports here, and there's been a lot of break-ins where the kids are getting in, people are getting into the medicine cabinets and
Yes.
stealing prescription drugs.
Anything they can find.
Which is scary. Meth. Now we haven't discussed meth. Is that as big a problem as it was here in Connie? Do you know?
I don't really know, but I know they're doing the 1 bottle meth now.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know anything about that stuff.
Yeah.
I think it's still around. It's just that what happened really was the pill. A lot of people were addicted to pills.
Painkillers.
Yeah, and they really got legal about it and stopped a lot of the procedure that made it easy for people to get. And so heroin came out and $5 a pop.
Yeah. Yeah.
In front of Walmart in Chardon. I'm sure that's happened here more than, it's just that was in the paper. But it's easy to get, and, they need the high,
See, I don't understand why, and Sheriff Johnson has told me this, that heroin is cheap. And I'm going, Jesus, I thought back in the 50s
It was expensive.
it was expensive.
Mhm.
And for some reason it's cheap now, and I don't understand why.
And there's a couple different kinds. They put some extras in it, and you don't know whether you do that and
right.
you
Kids
die.
kids are coming out of rehab, and they do it again, and they die.
Mhm.
Because they're cutting it with different things.
Really?
Yeah, and it's just so powerful, it just takes them. It's really, that happened in Erie not too long ago. And it happens all over, but on Facebook, on this TAM group, I mean, they always are reporting what's going on, and I was really happy to see that toward Cleveland Way, that they were starting to charge people that were dealing with heroin, charging them with, manslaughter and murder. I mean, really, that's what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And it's hard because you don't have to have a lot of money to get drugs. You don't.
Mm-hmm.
And so people that are using it, people that are using it are usually selling it, and it's just a vicious circle. People, they also said people that have low dopamine and serotonin in their system, they're just a big wide door. They have a bigger door to use than we do. And it's very attractive to them, but the thing of it is, they take it so they feel better, but once that drug takes them, it's nothing but misery for them. They're miserable.
You have to keep getting it to get that high.
That's got to be hell on earth. I just cannot imagine.
I think in our day, specifically mine, towards the end of the 60s, marijuana was the drug of choice here.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And that came from the West Coast. We were like 10 years behind getting that drug here. But that was basically all that we had to really put up with in that era. Then it went on to the other things like Pat and Connie are talking about, to the higher degree of addiction. Now, what's really amazing to me is in a couple states they've legalized marijuana.
Yes.
When we were kids growing up, they said, "Oh, you don't want to get on marijuana because they'll put you onto something else stronger." Whether, I don't know if that's true or not. I really don't know.
Well, it isn't true, but what it does is lower your inhibitions. And if you're an addict, you're always an addict till the day you die.
Mm-hmm.
And you always got to keep working your sobriety. Well, if you're smoking marijuana, if you were sober, you would pay attention. But when you're using marijuana, you're mellow, and hey, anything goes. And it's psychologically addicting. It's not physically addicting.
Yeah. Okay.
You know, there's pros and cons about it. I don't think they should, personally, because of the inhibitions being lowered. But they're getting it anyway, you know, I mean, there are people that can't function today because they smoke pot. Come on, I mean, you know,
Right.
they live in a cloud, and that's not good. I mean, you're just, you're not the same person, that's all.
You made a comment a few minutes ago, Pat, that you don't need a lot of money to buy drugs. What if they're not selling it? How do they come up with money to buy drugs? I don't understand.
Well, like
all
Connie
over.
said, yeah, it's all over. And then people do things for drugs that they would never do. You know, there's all kinds of ways to barter. I don't want to go into that because it just is horrendous. But if they want it, they'll get it. I think, you know, it's coming out of, if you notice the drug bust, they had in Ashtabula just recently. If you read, they had the guy that was from Columbus. I can't think of his name. He was involved with that, and he also was big in North Carolina. Well, if you read the story, you'll know. I can't think of it. But that's the people we got bringing it in.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and my other son, you know, he's in the Coast Guard, and he was in Key West for a while, and, you know, it comes in that way. He even showed us a boat.
Really?
One of those boats that go under the radar.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not kidding. I don't know really how they make it in the water because I think they just capsize. But yeah, a lot of drug running down there, you know.
And we do want people to know if they don't want to give their names, they don't have to.
Nope.
This is if they want to speak to us about anything, or Gail. You know, it stays there. So they can't,
Yeah.
they don't need to be afraid to come, because we're not going to run and tell you that so-and-so's
That's right.
kid's on drugs. No,
No.
this is,
Most groups like that, that's the first thing they say is everything that is said here stays here, and that's what we're going to do,
Yes.
because this is really important to the both of us, and we just want to be the gateway, like, you know, breaking it open. Come on, let's do something,
Yeah.
because we've been through it. We see how it ruins families. I mean, we both, I don't know about Connie, I suppose I still can cry, but I've been to the mountain. and tears just, you know, you'll cry, but then after a while it's like, hey, gotta do something.
So before I let you go here, would you go over one more time where the meeting's going to be, when the first one is, that sort of stuff?
Go ahead,
Yes.
Connie.
it's going to be Sunday, May 18th. We chose Sunday because we thought maybe more people could come. It's at the Corpus Christi Parish Center, which is, one time was St. Francis Cabrini School. And it's 734 Mill Street. We're called Heart to Heart.
Times?
Times 6 to 8 p.m.
Right. We'll have
And-
coffee and some light refreshments, yeah.
Okay.
It's going to be once a month, unless we get enough people who want to.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes, and we'll do
We're
whatever.
new at this,
Right.
Yeah.
so we're
Gonna try to
walking baby steps.
take care of the community
And it's every third Sunday.
of the month,
Of the
yeah.
month.
I didn't write down the next meeting, but we'll have it out there. We'll ask you and other
Sure.
people to, you know, keep, when we get a new date, and we'll send
Glad
it
to
to
do
you.
that.
Thank you.
Very important.
Thank you.
If I could thank some people, I'd like to thank Father Miller from Corpus
Yes.
Christi for allowing us to do this and having it be parish outreach. We've sent this to CAMA. We don't want it to just be seen as primarily, you know, the Catholic community. We want, you know, we're all in community. I want to thank Judge Harris for all the work that he does, and also Mike Castrilla, who's instrumental. He's so strong. I don't know how he does it. And I'd like to thank Connie for, you know, I think God put us together somehow.
Yes, I think so too.
And Pat, I'd like to thank you for allowing us to come on and get this message out to the
Anytime.
community.
Anytime, I think it's important. I really,
Yeah.
really do.
Very.
We do too.
Yes,
That's
that's why we're doing
That's
it.
why we're here.
That's good. That's good. Well, I wish you luck.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And whenever you get going here, maybe you can come back and give us an update.
Oh, great.
Okay,
Sure
that would
will.
be nice.
Sure will.
Appreciate that.